Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage where I'm again working on my old neglected BMW 325i E30. Now in today's video I'm going to be addressing the emergency brake cables on this car. If you remember back in my very first video where I went over most of the issues in this thing, I noticed that the emergency brake didn't work at all. And after doing a little bit of digging around inside of the car, I found out that the emergency brake cables were broken. Well, in order to do any sort of repairs on the back half of this car, meaning the differential and the axles, I'm gonna need to be able to lock the rear wheels. And with the car off the ground like it is, I need that emergency brake to hold those rear wheels in a locked position. So that means I've got to do the emergency brake cables before I do anything else. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. And it was at this point that I was hit with another reality check. Project E30 keeps on delivering, and not delivering in a good way. With all the wheels removed, I discovered rust. Now, I bought this car and I knew there were some rust spots, particularly back by the battery in the trunk, and then on the driver's rear wheel well, down kind of at the bottom near the rocker. And I figured, that's not too bad. Now I know that was just the tip of the iceberg. Take a look at this. I couldn't believe so much rust could be hidden from view like it was on this car. I'll admit, I don't know E30s that well, now I do, but unfortunately that meant I found this rust in a place that probably a lot of you knew where to look. You live and learn. But anyway, so this right here is a vent line from the fuel tank, and over the top of this was a metal shroud, or really, there wasn't much of a shroud left anymore. It was just this nasty, mangled piece of rusted metal that covered all this. And you can see there was 5 or so mounting screws throughout here, and they're all rusted out. This leads into the trunk here, right here leads into the trunk. This is a metal tubing piece that goes through the bodywork and goes to the tank. You know, it's a really nasty area. It was just mud caked in here. So I can imagine most E30s have this problem, because this is just, honestly, this is kind of a stupid design to have an external hose system going on here. So when I found this, it made me think, okay, what else is going on in this car? I'm sure this isn't the only spot that's rusted. So I started looking around a little bit more to see what else I could find. And the next spot wasn't really all that far away. It was actually in the passenger side rocker panel. It was actually covered up by this rock chip coating, but I could tell it was a soft spot, so I got in there with the screwdriver, and lo and behold, sure enough, there's a nice gaping hole in the rocker panel. So that's 2 spots. Moving on. Now, this next spot I actually knew about. It's right underneath the battery in the trunk. In the rear valence, you can see it's rusted a hole through here, and then this is actually the inside of the trunk where I'm sticking my finger. It's just rusted out because battery acid or some sort of drainage had pooled up here in the bottom of the trunk and just rotted that section out. Not pretty. So again, this is a section I actually knew was rusted out when I bought the car, because, I mean, it's pretty visible. I should have known when I saw that there was more to come. Moving on. So you can see that this area right here is rotted through. Nice hole there. Right here, there's some rust through going on right there. Moving on to the rocker panel here. I got in here with a screwdriver and started digging around. All of this started pouring out rust for days. Now, I have yet to see where the good metal actually starts, but I think I'm pretty close to it. See right here, it's just completely passed through. You can see the subframe bushing right there. Move on down here, you can also see right there, there's a hole. But probably more critical than all of those places is the rear driver's side spring perch. You can see that there's actually a hole rotted through right near where the spring is. Got in there with the screwdriver, and all of that fell out. I think that's the extent of it, but I'm gonna have to remove the spring to really find out for sure. On the upside, the passenger side doesn't have that problem going on, so that's good, I guess. So you might be thinking, yep, those are all typical E30 rust areas. And sure enough, this car has it, but that's not all. Let's keep going. The next and final area of rust on this car was in the driver's side front wheel well. In fact, where the firewall meets the wheel well. So this was all kind of flaking in here. So I got in here with the screwdriver and just started rooting around, see if this was real rust or just kind of the underbody coming up. And unfortunately, it is real deal rust. All the way through. Goes all the way up, all the way down here. And man, if it doesn't look bad enough from the outside, let's go look on the inside of the car. I know what you're thinking. That looks terrible. It really does. Oh, look at that. So this is the wheel well right here. This vertical piece on this side, and this is the firewall. You can imagine as you're driving down the road, and if the road's wet, you'll just be getting water splashing through here. And of course, it just follows this wheel well line all the way up the firewall here. And then it just keeps going on. I pulled back the carpet here. You can kind of see, I haven't pulled it back far enough yet, but you can see there's a hole back there, and then there's actually a through hole here in the floor, and then it kind of leading out to the rocker here. Oh, what a mess. Yeah, not great. That's a lot of rust. That's more rust than I ever anticipated I'd find in this car. Some of it is borderline structural type rust. So I've got two options. I either need to scrap this project and just give up and basically eat a few $1,000s and see what I can resell, get back as much as I can. Or, I mean, I can try to fix the bodywork that's going on here. What to do? What to do? Well, I guess that answers that then. So I do have some experience with welding, but it's with much thicker metal. I've never actually done any auto body welding. So this is going to be a new experience for me, but I just don't have the heart to scrap this car. It is otherwise just so close to being a good car, but there's all this rust, so I'm going to do my best to bring this thing back. So here's a little snippet of what you can expect to see in some future videos. Needless to say, there's a bunch of work that lies ahead, but you know what? When you buy a project, basically saying, you know what, whatever comes along, I'm gonna have to deal with. And in this case, it's bodywork, and not just bodywork, but welding in new metal. It's a learning experience, and it also means that maybe if this turns out okay, future project cars will be a piece of cake. So on that terrible demotivational note, that wraps up this video. Now this is gonna be the last video for a little while. In the next month, I've got a lot of things coming up in my personal life that I'm just not gonna be able to work on this car very much, let alone dedicate time to editing videos and getting them out to you guys. So expect near the end of September to see the next video. You know, hopefully have gotten a lot of welding done on the car and it's gonna be looking a lot better. At least that's the hope. And then after all the bodywork's addressed, then we can finally start fixing the issues that I originally set out to start fixing. So again, as always, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for all the support. And we'll see you guys again later.